In this video, we'll see how to restore an existing knowledge base on our PC. The procedure that we'll see also applies when we want to duplicate an existing KB in another folder. When we create a KB from Genexus, this information is shown in the Creation dialog. By default, Create Data Files in Knowledge Base folder is selected, which means that the KB itself will be saved in our knowledge base folder in a database. All of its information, objects, images, domains, all of it, will be stored in a database. That file will have an MDF extension. To restore this pre-existing knowledge base, we must previously have two files. One with .mdf and the other with .ldf. They are two SQL Server database files and are created automatically when a new database is created. MDF files contain all the database information, the created rows, columns, fields, and data. LDF files are database log files. They store the records of transactions or events that are executed in the database. The main purpose of using a log file in SQL Server is to revert the database in case of data loss. Let's suppose we have both the MDF and LDF files called GX KB Travel Agency MDF and GX KB Travel Agency Log LDF, respectively. These files are located by default in the Models folder and inside the folder with the name of the KB we're interested in this case, Travel Agency. In order to open them as a new KB in Genexus, we're going to do the following. We copy both files in a new directory. In this case, we'll do it in models/travel agency copy. There, we create an empty file called travelagencycopy.gxw in order to open the application from that file later on. And finally, we create a text file called knowledgebase.connection. We open it with Notepad, for example, and add the following text. We have the connection information tag containing all the information, followed by the DB name tag, where we must enter the name that our new database will have. In integrated security, we select True. Then we have the server instance tag, where we'll have to indicate the database server. In this case, we'll enter the name of our PC since we're working locally, followed by a slash, and the name of the instance where we're working, which in this case is SQL Express. This information can be seen, for example, when we create a new KB from Genexus. Lastly, we have the tag createDB in KB folder set to false. Next, we open SQL Server Management Studio in administrator mode. We log in and attach the MDF file that we have. When attaching it, we can specify the name that the database will have. If we already have another one created with this name, we must change it. In Genexus, we go to File, Open, Knowledge Base. And inside the folder we've just created, we select the file travelagencycopy.gxw and execute it. If we enter the folder again, we can see that a large number of files were created for the application, which will be totally independent from the original one. Even if we go back to knowledgebase.connection, we see that new tags were automatically added. What we've just done, as we said, is useful if the KB that we want to restore or copy is on the same PC. When we want to restore a KB from an MDF file that comes from another PC, the procedure is even simpler. Suppose we have an MDF file named gx kb supermarket.mdf from a KB named Supermarket on another PC. First of all, we copy the gxkbsupermarket.mdf file to a new folder, such as models/supermarket. Next, in Genexus, we open the dialog box File, Open, Knowledge Base. We choose that we want to search for MDF files, select the file, and accept. A new knowledge base will be created with all the objects included in the original KB, from where we took the MDF file. We execute, and we see that we already have a working copy of the KB on our PC. So, as we've just seen, if we want to back up a KB, it's enough to back up the SQL Server database. MDF files are generally of considerable size, so to simplify the transfer of these files, it's always a good idea to compress them. For example, in this case, the MDF file size was 72 megabytes. After compressing it, it was 1.6 megabytes.